The apple cost her everything, but it bought him a fortune worth $58 million. Naomi, 9 years old and black, watched the dying white boy collapse against the school fence. Her family lived on government checks, but she gave him her lunch anyway. Every afternoon, for 8 months straight. No one asked. No one thanked her. She did it because a child was starving in front of her eyes and she couldn't look away. When Ethan finally left in a social worker's car, he pressed a Polaroid photo into her hand, the only picture of his dead mother, and made a promise that sounded insane. "I'm going to be rich, and I'm going to find you, and I'm going to marry you." Naomi laughed through tears, tucked the photo in her shoe, and watched the car disappear down Broad Street. 24 years vanished like smoke. Ethan became a real estate developer, spent 7 years searching for her, bought 19 buildings in North Philadelphia, hired 5 investigators, found nothing. Tonight, he'd walk into a community zoning meeting on North 22nd Street. Naomi would be there, still carrying that faded Polaroid and a silver locket. Neither knew they were 90 seconds away from collision. The universe was about to make good on a promise whispered by a boy who had nothing left to lose but his word. Ethan Reed opened his eyes at 5:51 a.m. in a penthouse overlooking the Philadelphia skyline. Sunrise painted the Schuylkill River orange and gold. 23 floors below, the city woke up slowly. He stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows in boxer shorts, espresso in hand, watching light spill across buildings he owned. He felt nothing. The apartment was perfect. Too perfect. Scandinavian furniture, polished concrete floors, art from galleries in New York, a $12,000 sound system he'd used twice. The kitchen had appliances still wrapped in plastic, Wolf range, Miele dishwasher, wine fridge stocked by a service with bottles he'd never open. It looked like an architecture magazine. It felt like a prison. No photographs on the walls, no clutter, no signs anyone actually lived here. His bedroom was the worst. King bed with custom linens, closet full of tailored suits, everything organized by color. He slept on one side. The other side stayed cold, untouched, a monument to absence. His phone vibrated on the marble counter. Text from his CFO, Sandra. Fairmount deal finalized. $9.1 million profit. We're at $58 million for the year. Congratulations, boss. Ethan typed back. Thanks. $9 million. $58 million total. He felt nothing. Just the same hollow ache that lived in his chest. The emptiness that money couldn't fill. He walked to his home office, unlocked the bottom drawer of his desk. Inside sat a small leather box. He opened it carefully, like he did every morning. A silver locket, tarnished, scratched. Inside, a Polaroid photo faded to nearly nothing. A woman's face, smiling. Brown skin, kind eyes. Not his mother, someone else's mother. On the back, written in child's handwriting, Naomi Williams, Lincoln Park Elementary, Philadelphia. He'd written that 24 years ago. Age 10, starving and desperate and clinging to the one person who'd shown him kindness. Ethan closed his fist around the locket. Where are you? The board meeting at 10 a.m. was the same as always. Applause for another successful quarter, presentations about expansion into West Philadelphia, everyone congratulating Ethan on his vision, his strategy, his Midas touch. He smiled, said the right things, played the part of the confident CEO. Inside, he was drowning. His business partner, Julian, pulled him aside afterward in the hallway. You okay? You seemed distracted. I'm fine. You've been saying that for 7 years. Julian lowered his voice. Ever since you started buying property in North Philly. Ethan said nothing. This is still about her, isn't it? The girl. Ethan's jaw tightened. Her name is Naomi. Look, man, Julian hesitated. 7 years, 19 properties. You've spent over $3 million just searching for her. Maybe it's time to accept she's gone. Moved away, got married, changed her name. Maybe she doesn't remember you. She remembers. How do you know? Because I remember. Every single day. Ethan met his eyes. And she's not the kind of person who forgets. Julian sighed. This is going to consume you. It already has. Ethan walked back to his office, closed the door, stood at the window. The city sprawled below. Somewhere down there, in those streets, Naomi existed. He could feel it. He didn't believe in much, but he believed in that. He pulled up the map on his computer, 19 red pins scattered across North Philadelphia, all within a 5-mile radius of Lincoln Park Elementary School. The school where it happened. The school where a 9-year-old black girl saved a dying white boy's life through a chain-link fence. His phone buzzed. Text from his assistant. Reminder, North Philly Community Coalition meeting tonight, 7 p.m. You requested to attend personally? Ethan stared at the message. He usually sent representatives to community meetings, but today felt different. A pull in his chest. Intuition, maybe? Or desperation. He typed back, I'll be there. The memories came like a flood. They always did. December 2001. Ethan was 10 years old. His mother died of pneumonia in their car. They'd been living in it for 3 weeks. He woke up next to her body in a Target parking lot. Someone called the police. The state took him. Foster care lasted 18 days. The family called him troubled. The truth? He was traumatized, grieving, barely verbal. They sent him back to the group home. He ran. 3 weeks on the streets of Philadelphia. Winter. Freezing. Sleeping in subway stations, eating from dumpsters, stealing when he had to. By week 3, he couldn't stand without swaying. Hunger made him delirious. Cold made him numb. Infections bloomed on his feet. He found Lincoln Park Elementary during lunch recess. Collapsed against the chain-link fence, watching kids play and eat. A teacher noticed him. You need to leave. You're scaring the children. Ethan tried to stand, his legs buckled. The teacher walked away. That's when he saw her. A little black girl with box braids and a bright yellow jacket standing on the other side of the fence, staring at him. Not with fear, with something that looked like grief. Naomi Williams lived 6 blocks from that school in North Philadelphia. Her mother cleaned houses. Her father drove a bus. Her grandmother lived with them. 76 years old, diabetic, fierce as a lioness. They survived in a 2-bedroom apartment with peeling linoleum and a landlord who ignored every repair request. Breakfast was oatmeal. Lunch was free at school. Dinner was whatever stretched: pasta, rice, beans, chicken when they could afford it. They were poor. Not destitute, but poor enough that every dollar mattered. Naomi's grandmother had one rule. Baby, we don't got much, but we always share, because kindness is the only thing we can give for free. That day at recess, Naomi's best friend, Keisha, called to her. Naomi, come jump rope. But Naomi couldn't move, couldn't stop staring at the boy outside the fence. He was white, skinny like death. Clothes torn and filthy, face gray, eyes sunken. He looked like he was dying. Keisha ran over. What you looking at? That boy? Oh, him? He been there all week.
Mr. Patterson said someone called the cops, but he keeps coming back. He looks sick. Probably is. Come on, let's play. No, wait.
Naomi looked down at her lunch bag, a tuna sandwich, an apple, juice box, crackers. Her whole lunch. The only food until dinner at 6. Her grandmother's voice in her head. We always share. Naomi grabbed her lunch bag, walked to the fence.
Naomi, where are you going?
She ignored them. Up close, the boy looked even worse, shaking violently, lips cracked and bleeding, eyes barely focused.
Hi,
Naomi said softly.
I'm Naomi.
The boy tried to speak. Nothing came out. Naomi pushed her lunch bag through the gap at the bottom of the fence. Take it. You need it more than me. The boy stared at the bag like it was a hallucination, then grabbed it, ate the sandwich in 4 desperate bites. Tears streamed down his face. Naomi watched him devour everything, the apple, the juice, even the crackers at the bottom. When he finished, he looked up at her. Thank you. His voice was barely a whisper. What's your name? Ethan? You okay, Ethan? He shook his head. Number. Naomi's heart shattered. I'll bring you lunch tomorrow too, okay? I promise. Ethan's eyes widened. You do that? Yeah, every day, until you're safe. The bell rang. Naomi had to go, but she looked back 6 times. Ethan sat clutching the empty juice box, watching her like she was an angel. That night, Naomi told her grandmother everything. There's a boy at my school. He's starving. He's living outside. Her grandmother nodded slowly. You gave him your lunch. How'd you know? Because that's how I raised you, baby. You did the right thing. But now I'm hungry. Her grandmother pulled Naomi close, kissed her forehead. I'll make you extra breakfast tomorrow. We'll figure it out. That boy needs it more than you right now. Promise? I promise. For 8 months, Naomi brought Ethan her lunch, every single afternoon. Rain or shine, snow or heat, she never missed a day. Her parents worked overtime so she'd have enough. Her mother took extra cleaning jobs. Her father picked up weekend shifts. Her grandmother gave portions of her own meals, went to bed hungry so Naomi would have enough to share. The family stretched every dollar, skipped movies, wore old clothes, went without extras, all so Ethan could eat. The temperature dropped to -12 degrees, the coldest day of the year. School almost canceled, but didn't. Ethan was at the fence, shaking so hard his teeth clattered. His hands were blue, no gloves, no coat, just a thin sweatshirt with holes. Naomi ran to the fence, pushed her lunch through, but Ethan couldn't grab it. His fingers wouldn't work. They were frozen stiff. Ethan? Naomi's voice cracked with panic. Your hands! He tried to speak. Couldn't. Just shook. Naomi looked down at her own hands. She wore pink mittens, her favorite ones, knitted by her grandmother. Warm, soft. The only pair she owned. She pulled them off, pushed them through the fence. Put these on, right now. Ethan stared at them. Put them on, Naomi shouted. Ethan fumbled the mittens on. Naomi could see tears freezing on his face. Thank you, he whispered. Naomi's hands turned red in seconds. The cold bit into her skin, but she smiled. Now eat, before it freezes. That night, Naomi's mother noticed. Where are your mittens? I lost them. Her mother's eyes narrowed. Naomi, where are they? I gave them to someone who needed them more. Her mother was angry, tired, frustrated. Baby, we can't afford to replace those. Your grandma made those by hand. You understand?
Naomi nodded, crying. I'm sorry. Her grandmother spoke from the couch. Leave her be. She did right. Mama, she's gonna freeze. Then I'll make her new ones. She did right. Naomi's hands were raw and cold for 2 weeks. She wore socks on her hands at recess. Kids laughed at her, called her weird. But Ethan wore the pink mittens every day. And he lived. Marcus and his friends cornered Naomi at recess. Marcus was 12, big for his age, mean. Yo, Naomi, you still feeding that white boy? Naomi ignored him, walked toward the fence. Marcus blocked her. I'm talking to you. Move. Why you wasting food on him? He ain't nothing. He's a person. He's trash, living on the street like a rat. Naomi's jaw tightened. Get out of my way. Marcus grabbed her lunch bag. What you gonna do? Naomi tried to grab it back. Marcus held it high, laughing. His friends joined in. Look at her, trying to save the white boy. Ethan watched from the fence, helpless. Then Keisha stepped in. Give it back, Marcus. Or what? Or I'll tell Ms. Thompson you've been stealing from the vending machine. Marcus's smile faded. He threw the lunch bag at Naomi. Whatever. He gonna die anyway. Naomi picked up the bag, walked to the fence, hands shaking. Sorry, she told Ethan. The sandwich is squished. Ethan took it carefully. You didn't have to stand up for me. Yes, I did. Why? Because that's what you do for people you care about. It was Easter. Naomi's family went to church, then had a small dinner. Turkey, mashed potatoes, green beans, and a grandmother's famous peach cobbler. Naomi ate quietly, then asked, Can I take some cobbler to school tomorrow? Her mother frowned. For who? For Ethan. Her parents exchanged looks. They knew about Ethan by now. They weren't happy about it, worried Naomi was giving too much, but they didn't stop her. Her grandmother cut a large piece of cobbler, wrapped it in foil. Give him this. Tell him Happy Easter from me. The next day, Naomi brought the cobbler along with her lunch. Ethan's eyes went wide when he saw it. What is this? Peach cobbler. My grandma made it. She says Happy Easter. Ethan's voice cracked. She knows about me? Yeah. She's the one who told me to keep bringing you food. Ethan ate the cobbler slowly, crying. Tell her thank you. Tell her I'll never forget this. I promise. Naomi smiled. I will. They talked through the fence almost every day, small conversations at first, then deeper. What do you want to be when you grow up? Naomi asked one day. I don't know. I used to think I'd be dead by now. Don't say that. It's true. My mom died. Nobody wants me. What's the point? Naomi's eyes filled with tears. The point is, you matter. To me. You matter to me, Ethan. He looked at her. Why? Because you're a person. And people matter. All of them. Even the ones nobody else sees. Ethan nodded slowly. Maybe one day I'll have money. Enough to help people like you helped me. That'd be nice. I mean it. I'm gonna get rich, and I'm gonna find you. And I'm gonna make sure you never regret saving me. Naomi laughed. You don't gotta do all that. I want to. By summer, Ethan looked healthier, color in his face, able to walk without stumbling. He told Naomi through the fence, They found me again. Foster family in New Jersey. I'm leaving tomorrow. Naomi's stomach dropped. New Jersey? That's far. I know. Will I ever see you again? Ethan reached into his pocket, pulled out a Polaroid photo, creased and faded. This is my mom. before she got sick. It's the only picture I have of her. The only thing I got from my old life. Naomi looked at the photo, a woman with kind eyes, smiling at the camera. Ethan turned it over, found a pen in his pocket, wrote carefully on the back. Naomi Williams, Lincoln Park Elementary, Philadelphia. He handed it to her through the fence. Keep this. One day, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to find you, and I'm going to marry you. I promise. Naomi laughed, but tears ran down her face. You don't got to do that. I want to. You saved my life. I'll never forget. He looked at her intensely. You're the best person I ever met. And one day, I'm going to be good enough to deserve you. Ethan, you don't owe me. It's not about owing. You made me want to live. That's everything. Naomi clutched the photo. How are you going to find me? I'll remember your name. I'll come back to Philadelphia. I'll find you. I promise on my mother's grave. They stared at each other through the fence. Can I ask you something? Ethan said quietly. Yeah? Why'd you help me? You didn't know me. Your family's struggling too. Why give me your food? Naomi thought for a moment. My grandma says we all got a choice every day. We can be kind or we can walk past. And walking past is easy. It don't cost nothing. But being kind, it costs something. She held up the empty lunch bag. But it makes the world better. Even just a little bit, even just for one person. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. You made my world better. You made me believe I was worth something. The next day, he was gone. Naomi went to the fence every day for 3 weeks, hoping. He never came back. She kept the photo, put it in a cheap silver locket her aunt gave her for her 10th birthday, wore it every day for 24 years. 4 years after leaving Philadelphia, Ethan stood on a construction site in Camden, New Jersey. Summer heat, 98 degrees. He was 16, working illegally for cash. No ID, no work permit, just a fake story about being 18. He hauled cinder blocks for 10 hours. Sweat poured down his back. His hands blistered. His muscles screamed. $12 an hour. At lunch break, he sat alone, eating a gas station sandwich. The other workers ignored him, the quiet white kid who never talked. Ethan pulled out the Polaroid. Still in his pocket after all these years. Faded, bent, but he could still see her handwriting on the back. Naomi Williams. A foreman walked by. You okay, kid? Ethan nodded. You got family? No. Friends? No. The foreman studied him. Then why you working so hard? Ethan looked at the photo. I made a promise to someone. Must be some promise. It is. That night, Ethan slept in a shelter. 30 beds, 50 men, snoring, coughing, arguing. He lay awake staring at the ceiling. He thought about quitting, thought about how easy it would be to just stop trying, to disappear. But then he thought about Naomi, 9 years old, giving him her lunch, her mittens, her hope. He couldn't quit. Not when someone believed in him once. 15 years after leaving Philadelphia, Ethan sat in a 5-star restaurant in Center City, alone. White tablecloth, crystal glasses, menu with no prices. He'd just closed his first $1 million deal. Reed Development was official. He was 25 years old, a millionaire. The waiter brought his steak. Congratulations on your success, Mr. Reed. Ethan smiled. Thank you. But when the waiter left, Ethan stared at the food, the expensive plate, the wine, the emptiness. He'd imagined this moment for years. Success, money, proof that he mattered. But sitting there, alone, he felt nothing. The steak tasted like cardboard. The wine tasted like regret. He pulled out his phone, opened the photo he'd scanned years ago, Naomi's handwriting. Naomi Williams, Lincoln Park Elementary, Philadelphia. He hired his first private investigator that night, $50,000 retainer. Find her. I don't care what it costs. Find her. 6 months later, the investigator came back with nothing. Naomi Williams is too common. I found 73 women with that name in Pennsylvania alone. Without more information, it's impossible. Keep looking. Mr. Reed, I've exhausted every database. Unless she reaches out to you, I don't think— I said keep looking. At 6:43 p.m., Ethan pulled up to the North Philadelphia Community Coalition building. Old brick structure, peeling paint, but well-maintained. Inside, the room was packed, about 70 people in folding chairs, families, elders, young activists. Everyone black except a handful of others. Ethan straightened his tie, smoothed his $4,000 suit. He felt absurdly out of place. A woman at the registration table looked up, young, sharp-eyed, wary. Name? Ethan Reed. Reed Development. Her expression went cold. Oh, the developer. You actually came. Yes. Most developers send lawyers to do the dirty work. I'm not most developers. She handed him a name tag without smiling. We'll see about that. Ethan walked in, heads turned, whispers spread like wildfire. That's him, the millionaire, here to kick us out probably. A woman in her 60s stood at the front of the room, gray dreadlocks, sharp eyes, presence that commanded respect. Good evening. I'm Patricia Moore, Coalition President. Tonight we discuss the proposed development at Broad and Susquehanna. She looked directly at Ethan, cold, assessing. Mr. Reed wants to build luxury housing. He says it's mixed income. We've heard that before. What actually happens? Rent goes up, people get pushed out. The neighborhood changes, not for us, but for people who look like him. Murmurs of agreement. Patricia continued. Mr. Reed will present his plans. We'll ask questions, real questions. And if we don't like what we hear, we vote no. Understood? Scattered applause. Mr. Reed, you're up. Ethan stood. 70 pairs of eyes tracked him, hostile, suspicious. He walked to the front, opened his laptop, projected architectural renderings, beautiful buildings, green spaces. Before he could speak, a voice cut through the room. This is gentrification. Ethan looked up. A black woman in her early 30s stood in the middle row. She wore scrubs, hospital scrubs, exhausted, angry, beautiful. Excuse me? Ethan said. I said this is gentrification. You're not helping this neighborhood. You're erasing it. The room erupted in applause. Ethan's chest tightened. Something about her voice. Familiar. Patricia spoke. That's Naomi Williams. She runs the community health clinic on Lehigh Avenue. Go ahead, Naomi. Ethan froze. Naomi. Naomi Williams. She kept talking, not noticing his reaction. I was born 6 blocks from here. My family's been in North Philly for 3 generations. We survived crack epidemics, factory closures, violence, poverty. And now you want to build fancy apartments and push us out? That's not my intention, Ethan started. Then what is your intention, Mr. Reed? Because your company bought 19 buildings in this neighborhood. 19! You're not helping, you're colonizing. The room roared. Ethan tried to focus, tried to speak, but his brain was screaming. It's her. It's her. It's her. He looked at her closely. The face. Older,
tired, but the same eyes, kind eyes, fierce eyes. Around her neck, a silver locket. Ethan's heart stopped.
Mr. Reed?
Patricia's voice cut through.
Do you have an answer?
Ethan couldn't speak. Naomi crossed her arms.
That's what I thought. No answer, just greed.
The room applauded. Ethan pulled himself together. You're right. Silence.
I'm sorry, what?
Naomi said. You're right. Gentrification is real. Developers lie. They promise affordable housing and deliver luxury condos. I understand your anger. The room shifted, confused. But I'm not here for profit, Ethan continued. I'm here for a different reason.
Which is?
Patricia asked. Ethan reached into his pocket, pulled out the silver locket, opened it, held it up so the room could see. Inside, the Polaroid, the woman's face, and on the back, barely visible from the distance, handwriting. 24 years ago, a little girl named Naomi Williams saved my life. I was 10 years old, homeless, starving, dying. She gave me her lunch every day for 8 months. She gave me her mittens, her hope, everything. The room went silent. I made her a promise. I said I'd find her. I'd come back. I'd prove I was worth saving. Ethan's voice cracked. I've been looking for her for 7 years. I bought 19 buildings in this neighborhood because I thought she'd still be here, helping people. Because that's who she is. He looked directly at Naomi. I'm not here to gentrify. I'm here to find you. Naomi's face went pale. Ethan held up the locket. This is the only picture of my mother. You gave it back to me through the fence. You wrote your name on it so I'd remember. Naomi's hand went to her own locket. She opened it slowly. Inside, the same photo. The room gasped. Naomi stared at Ethan. Her mouth opened. No words came out. Naomi, Ethan whispered. It's me. It's Ethan. She took a step back, shaking her head.
No, it can't be.
It's me. Tears spilled down her face.
Ethan?
The room exploded. Gasps. Shouts, applause. But Ethan only saw Naomi, and Naomi only saw him. She whispered, barely audible over the noise. You came back. Ethan nodded. I promised. Naomi's legs buckled. Someone caught her. She stared at him, clutching her locket, tears streaming. Patricia Moore stepped forward. I think we need to take a break. But nobody moved. Everyone stared at Ethan and Naomi. Ethan walked toward her slowly. Can we talk? Please? Naomi nodded, unable to speak. They walked toward the exit. The crowd parted. As they reached the door, Naomi turned back, looked at him fully for the first time. Her voice shook.
Is it really you?
Ethan's eyes filled with tears. It's really me. And they stepped outside into the Philadelphia night. The cold air hit them like water. Ethan and Naomi stood on the community center steps, neither speaking. Inside, 70 people pressed against the windows, watching. Naomi wrapped her arms around herself. She still wore her hospital scrubs, blue, wrinkled, coffee-stained. Her natural hair was pulled back in a messy bun. She looked exhausted, real, beautiful. Ethan stood 3 feet away in his $4,000 suit, Rolex gleaming on his wrist, looking like he'd stepped out of a magazine. The gap between them felt like a canyon. So, Naomi said finally, her voice shook. You're real. I'm real. Ethan Reed. She said his name like she was testing it.
The developer. The millionaire. That's me. She looked at him, really looked at him. The expensive suit, the perfect haircut, the confidence in his posture. Then she looked down at herself. Scrubs, sneakers with holes, hands rough from work. She laughed bitterly. This is crazy. Naomi, no, seriously, this whole thing. She gestured wildly. You walked in there looking like money. And I stood up and yelled at you. I called you a colonizer. She covered her face with her hands. Oh my God. I'm so embarrassed. Don't be. Don't be. Ethan, I basically accused you of destroying the neighborhood. You were right to. You didn't know it was me. Naomi dropped her hands. But it is you. And now I feel like an idiot. You're not an idiot. You're exactly who I thought you'd be. Ethan stepped closer. Fierce, protecting your community, standing up to power. That's the Naomi I remember. She shook her head. I'm not that girl anymore. That girl was 9 years old and didn't know better. What do you mean? Naomi's eyes filled with tears. I gave you my lunch because I thought it would help. I thought one person could make a difference. But look at this neighborhood, Ethan. It's still broken, still poor, still hurting. I work at a free clinic and we turn away 50 people a week because we don't have space. I couldn't save you. I can't save anyone. Naomi, you did save me. No, she wiped her eyes angrily. You saved yourself. You became rich. You built an empire. You didn't need me. You would have been fine without me. That's not true. Then why are you here? Her voice rose. Why spend 7 years looking for me? Why buy 19 buildings? You're a millionaire, Ethan. You could have anyone. Why me? Why some random nurse who gave you a sandwich 24 years ago? Ethan's throat tightened. Because you were the only person who saw me. What? When I was dying on the street, everyone looked away. Teachers, police, strangers. They all saw a problem to avoid. But you, his voice cracked. You saw a person. You saw someone worth saving. And that changed everything. Naomi was crying now. Ethan, I didn't build this fortune for money. I built it because I wanted to prove you right. I wanted to prove that the boy you saved was worth the sacrifice. That your kindness wasn't wasted. It wasn't a sacrifice. It was just lunch. It was everything. Ethan stepped closer. And now, I'm here because I need you to know you made me believe I mattered. And I've spent 24 years trying to matter enough to deserve you. Naomi stared at him. Then she looked at his suit, his watch, his perfect everything. But look at you. And look at me. We're from different worlds now. No, we're from the same world. I just have more money. That's not Naomi. Ethan took her hands. She didn't pull away. I don't care about the gap. I care about you. The woman who runs a free clinic, who stayed in this neighborhood when everyone else left, who still fights for people who can't fight for themselves. That's who I came back for. Naomi closed her eyes. Tears slid down her cheeks. This is too much. I can't. I need time to think. Take all the time you need. She opened her eyes. Really? I waited 24 years. I can wait a little longer. Naomi laughed through tears. You're insane. Probably. She looked at him for a long moment, then said quietly, Can I see you tomorrow? Ethan's heart soared. Yes, anytime, anywhere. My clinic, 8 a.m. I want you to see what I do. See who I really am. I'd love that. Naomi nodded. Then, without another word, she walked to her car. An old Honda Civic with a dented bumper. She got in, started the engine, and drove away. Ethan stood on the steps watching her taillights disappear. Inside the community center, Patricia Moore appeared at the door. Well? Ethan turned. Well, what? Did you screw it up? I don't know yet. Patricia smiled. She'll come around. That girl's got a good heart. Too good, maybe, but good. I know. Don't hurt her, Mr. Reed. This community will come after you if you do. I won't. I promise. The Lehigh Avenue Community Health Clinic was a converted storefront wedged between a laundromat and a bodega. Faded sign, bars on the windows, but clean. Loved. Ethan arrived at 7:55 a.m. wearing jeans and a plain t-shirt. No suit, no Rolex. He wanted to blend in. He didn't. Naomi opened the door, surprised. You're early. I'm punctual. She smiled slightly. Come in. Inside the clinic was chaos. Waiting room packed with people, kids crying, elderly sitting patiently, a woman arguing with the receptionist about insurance. Naomi led Ethan to the back. This is it. My kingdom. 3 exam rooms, 1 bathroom, a supply closet that doubled as an office. Everything worn but functional. We see about 80 patients a day, Naomi explained. No one turned away. We operate on donations and grants. It's barely enough. Ethan looked around. It's incredible. It's a mess. It's important work. Naomi studied him. Why are you really here, Ethan? You invited me. No, I mean, why aren't you at your office, making deals, being a CEO? Because this matters more. Before Naomi could respond, the receptionist burst in. Naomi, we got a problem. What now? Pipe burst in the bathroom, water everywhere. Naomi closed her eyes. Of course it did. She ran to the bathroom. Water pooled on the floor, spreading fast. The pipe under the sink had split, spraying water everywhere. I'll call a plumber, the receptionist said. We can't afford a plumber. Naomi grabbed towels, started soaking up water. We'll fix it ourselves. Ethan stepped in. Let me see. Naomi looked up. What? I worked construction for 3 years. I can fix a pipe. You're a developer, not a plumber. I was a lot of things before I was a developer. Ethan rolled up his sleeves. You got a wrench? 30 minutes later, Ethan was soaked, dirty, lying on his back under the sink. His expensive jeans were ruined. His shirt clung to him. But the pipe was fixed. He crawled out, water dripping from his hair. Naomi stared at him. Then she started laughing. You look ridiculous. I look useful. You look like you fell in a pool. Ethan grinned. Did I pass the test? What test? The is he actually down to earth or just pretending test? Naomi's smile faded. Yeah, you passed. They stared at each other. Something shifted in her eyes. Softness, trust. Thank you, she said quietly. Anytime. Ethan showed up at the clinic every day, not to hover, to help. He restocked supplies, painted the waiting room, fixed the broken chairs, talked to patients while they waited. One elderly man, Mr. Johnson, said, You that millionaire everyone's talking about? I'm Ethan. You here for Naomi? I'm here to help. Mr. Johnson studied him. You love her? Ethan paused, then said honestly, Yes, I do. She know that?
Not yet. Better tell her soon. Good women don't wait forever. Ethan nodded. I will. Week 2, the clinic's copier broke. The receptionist called 3 repair companies. None would come without payment up front. Ethan overheard. How much? $400. We don't have it. Ethan pulled out his wallet. The receptionist stopped him. No, Naomi said no charity from you. It's not charity. It's an investment. This clinic helps people. That's worth $400. Naomi appeared in the doorway. Ethan, I can't take your money. It's not taking, it's accepting help. The way you taught me to accept help when I was 10. Naomi stared at him, then nodded slowly. Okay, but this is a loan. I'll pay you back. Deal. The copier was fixed that afternoon. Week 3, a patient collapsed in the waiting room, diabetic emergency. Naomi ran over, checking vitals. He needs insulin, now. We're out, the receptionist said. Next shipment isn't until Friday. Then call the hospital. Ambulance is 40 minutes out, traffic. Ethan stepped forward. My office is 10 minutes away. I'll drive him. Naomi hesitated. Ethan, you don't have to. I know, but I'm here. Let me help. They got the man in Ethan's car, a BMW that now had blood on the leather seats. Ethan drove like his life depended on it, got the man to Temple Hospital in 8 minutes, stayed until the man was stable, drove back to the clinic 3 hours later. Naomi was waiting outside. Is he okay? He's fine. They stabilized him. Thank you. She looked at his car. Your seats are ruined. They're just seats. Ethan, that car probably costs more than I make in 2 years. And that man's life is worth more than 1,000 cars. He looked at her. You taught me that, remember? People matter more than things. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. You really listened. I never stopped listening. That Friday, Ethan took Naomi to dinner. Not a fancy restaurant, a diner on South Street. Red vinyl booths, greasy menus, coffee and chipped mugs. Naomi laughed when they sat down. This is your idea of a date? What? You don't like diners? I love diners. I just thought you'd pick somewhere expensive. Why would I do that? Because you're rich? Ethan leaned forward. Naomi, I don't care about expensive. I care about you. And I remember you telling me back when we were kids that your favorite food was pancakes from the diner near your school. Naomi's eyes widened. You remember that? I remember everything you told me. She looked down, smiling. That's actually really sweet. They ordered pancakes, talked for 3 hours about everything. Naomi told him about nursing school, her grandmother's death, the clinic's struggles. Ethan told her about construction, real estate, the loneliness of success. At the end of the night, Naomi pulled out her locket, opened it. I still can't believe you kept the photo. Ethan pulled out his locket, same photo. I couldn't let it go. It was all I had of you. They compared the Polaroids, faded, identical, sacred. Naomi whispered, We were so young. We were. But the promise was real. Was it? Or did we just romanticize a moment? Ethan took her hand. I don't know what you felt back then, but I know what I feel now. I'm in love with you, Naomi. Not the memory. You. The woman sitting in front of me, the nurse, the fighter, the person who still gives everything to help others. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. Ethan, you don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. She squeezed his hand. I think I'm falling in love with you too. And it terrifies me. Why? Because what if this doesn't work? What if the fairy tale ends? Then we'll figure it out. Together. The Philadelphia Inquirer ran the story on a Tuesday morning. Below the headline, photos of Ethan and Naomi leaving the diner holding hands. The article speculated about their relationship, called Naomi the mystery woman who captured a billionaire's heart. By noon, it was everywhere. Local news, social media, gossip sites. Naomi's phone exploded. Calls, texts. Her mother from Atlanta. Baby, are you okay? Why didn't you tell us? Her friends. Girl, is this real? Reporters showing up at the clinic asking patients for comments. Someone leaked her address. By evening, paparazzi camped outside her apartment building. Cameras, questions shouted as she tried to get inside. Naomi, how long have you been dating Ethan Reed? Is it serious? Are you moving in together? She locked her door, closed the curtains, and called Ethan, hands shaking. Did you see it? I saw it. I'm handling it. My PR team is. They're outside my building. They won't leave. They followed me from work. They're talking to my neighbors. Someone called my landlord asking about my lease. Ethan, this is insane. I know. I'm so sorry. I'm coming over. No, that'll make it worse. They'll take more photos, write more stories. Naomi, Ethan, I can't do this. Her voice broke. I can't be in the spotlight. I'm not built for this. I'm just a nurse. I work at a free clinic. I don't have fancy clothes or media training. I don't know how to be the millionaire's girlfriend. That's not who I am. Then don't be. Be yourself. But they won't let me. They're writing articles, calling me a gold digger on Twitter, saying I'm using you for money. My patients are asking questions. One woman said, "So you're rich now? Guess you don't need this clinic anymore." The board is worried about publicity affecting donations. This is destroying everything I built. Ethan's chest tightened. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe we need to take a break, just until this dies down. No, Ethan, no. I'm not letting you go because of some reporters and strangers on the internet who don't know you. It's not just reporters. It's our lives being incompatible. You're a public figure. I'm not. You live in a penthouse. I live in a one-bedroom with a leaky ceiling. You wear suits that cost more than my rent. I wear scrubs with bleach stains. This will never work. Naomi, please, I'm sorry. She was crying now. I can't. I'm sorry. She hung up. Ethan stared at his phone, heart pounding, then grabbed his keys. He showed up at her apartment 20 minutes later, pushed through the paparazzi, knocked on her door. Naomi opened it, eyes red from crying. I told you not to come. And I told you I'm not letting you go. Ethan, listen to me. He stepped inside, closed the door. I don't care about the media. I don't care about publicity. I care about you. And if being with me makes your life harder, then I'll step back from the public eye. I'll sell my company. I'll disappear, whatever you need. You can't just sell your company. Watch me. Ethan, that's insane. What's insane is losing you because I'm afraid of what people think. He took her hands. Naomi, you taught me something when I was 10 years old. You taught me that people matter more than anything else, more than money, status, reputation, just people. And you're the person who matters most to me. Naomi was sobbing. But I'm scared. What if this ruins everything? Then we'll rebuild, together, just like we did 24 years ago. She looked up at him. You really mean that? Every word. Naomi threw her arms around him. I'm sorry. I got scared. I thought, I know. But I'm not going anywhere. without you." They held each other as the paparazzi shouted outside. Ethan picked Naomi up on a Saturday morning. "I want to show you something." "What?" "The project, the one I was presenting at the community meeting." Naomi tensed. "The gentrification project?" "Just trust me." They drove to Broad and Susquehanna, the site where Ethan planned to build. Construction was already underway, foundation laid, framing started. Ethan parked, led Naomi to the site entrance. A large sign stood at the front, covered by a tarp. "What is this?" Naomi asked. "This is what I've been building, what I've been working toward for 7 years." He pulled the tarp off. The sign read, "The Naomi Williams Community Center, opening spring 2026. Naomi gasped. Ethan continued, "It's not luxury condos. It's a community center. 3 floors. Medical clinic on the first floor, 3 times the size of your current one. Youth programs on the second floor, adult education and job training on the third. All free. All for this neighborhood." Naomi couldn't speak. Ethan pulled out blueprints, unrolled them on a table. "Look, exam rooms, dental office, mental health services, child care center, computer lab, everything this community needs, everything you need to help people the way you've always wanted." Naomi stared at the plans. Tears streamed down her face. "Ethan, I don't understand. When did you—" "I started planning this 6 years ago. The minute I decided to come back to Philadelphia, I knew if I found you, this is what you'd want. Not a fancy building with my name on it. A place that actually serves people." He handed her a set of keys. "These are yours. I built the walls, but only you can build the home inside. It's yours, Naomi. The whole thing. Run it however you want. Hire who you want. Serve who you want. I'll fund it, but it's yours." Naomi's legs gave out. She sat on the curb, sobbing. "Why would you do this?" Ethan knelt beside her. "Because 24 years ago, you gave me everything, and I promised I'd spend the rest of my life trying to deserve it. This is how I keep that promise." Naomi looked up at him. "I don't deserve this. You deserve the world." She grabbed his face, kissed him, deep, desperate, grateful. When they pulled apart, she whispered, "I love you. I love you so much it scares me." "I love you too. Always have. Always will." The Naomi Williams Community Center opened on a bright April morning. 200 people attended. Media, politicians, community members, everyone celebrating. Naomi stood at the front wearing a simple blue dress, giving a speech. Her voice shook with emotion. "This center represents something my grandmother taught me when I was a little girl. She said, 'Baby, we don't got much, but we always, always share, because kindness is the only thing we can give for free.' This center is built on that principle. We share what we got, not because it's easy, not because we'll get something back, but because it's right." She looked at the crowd. "This center is for everyone who's been overlooked, everyone who's been told they don't matter, every kid going to bed hungry, every parent working 3 jobs, every elder forgotten by the system. You matter. You have always mattered, and this place will prove it every single day." Applause erupted. People stood, cheering, crying. Naomi found Ethan in the crowd. He smiled at her. Proud, in love. After the ceremony, as people mingled, Ethan pulled Naomi aside. "Can I show you something? Another surprise?" "One more. The last one, I promise." "The last one? Should I be worried?" "Probably." He grinned. He led her to the rooftop access. They climbed the stairs, pushed open the door. The view stretched across North Philadelphia,
The neighborhood that raised her, the streets she walked as a child, the community she'd spent her life serving. "I love this view," Naomi said, walking to the edge. "You can see everything from here. The school where we met, my old apartment, the clinic, it's all here. That's why I wanted to bring you up here." Ethan stood beside her. "This view reminds me of where we started. A fence, a lunch, a promise. And it shows me where we're going. Together." Naomi turned to him, smiling. "You're being very poetic today." "I practiced." He took her hands. "Naomi, do you remember what I promised you 25 years ago?" "You promised you'd find me, and you did." "I promised something else, too." Her breath caught. "Ethan." He dropped to one knee. Naomi's hands flew to her mouth. Tears spilled immediately. Ethan pulled out a ring, simple gold band with a single red ruby. "This ruby represents something. Fire, warmth, the life you gave me when I was dying. Naomi, I've loved you for 25 years. I loved you when I was a starving kid. I loved you when I was a lonely millionaire. And I love you now, standing on top of a building that exists because you showed me what kindness looks like." His voice cracked. "You saved my life, twice. Once when I was 10 and freezing to death, and again when I was 34 and empty inside. You showed me that love isn't about deserving. It's about showing up. And I want to show up for you every single day for the rest of my life." He opened the ring box. "Naomi Williams, you are the bravest, kindest, most beautiful person I have ever known. Will you marry me?" Naomi was sobbing, laughing, nodding before she could speak. "Yes, yes, oh my God, yes. 1,000 times yes." Ethan slipped the ring on her finger, hands shaking, then stood and pulled her into his arms. They kissed as the city stretched out below them, the neighborhood they'd transformed together, the lives they'd touch, the legacy they'd build. When they pulled apart, Naomi touched his face. "I can't believe you kept your promise." "I told you I would." "You were 10 years old." "And I meant every word." She laughed through tears. "You're insane. You know that?" "I'm in love. It's basically the same thing." They held each other as the sun set over Philadelphia, two halves of a promise finally whole. They got married on the playground of Lincoln Park Elementary. Small ceremony, 50 guests. The fence where they met was decorated with flowers. Patricia Moore officiated. These two people met through this fence 25 years ago. One gave food, one gave hope. Today, they give each other forever. Ethan and Naomi exchanged vows. "Naomi, you taught me that one person can change the world. You changed mine. I vow to honor that gift every day. Ethan, you taught me that kindness always comes back. Not how you expect, but it always comes back. I vow to never stop believing in that." They kissed. Everyone cheered. At the reception, held at the community center, they danced, laughed, celebrated. Then, as the night wound down, a small voice interrupted. "Excuse me?" Naomi turned. A little girl stood there, maybe 7 years old, black, skinny, wearing clothes too big for her, eyes hollow with hunger. "I'm hungry," the girl whispered. "Can you help me?" Naomi's heart broke. She looked at Ethan. He nodded. They knelt down together. "What's your name?" Naomi asked. "Maya." "Hi, Maya. I'm Naomi. This is Ethan. Let's get you some food, okay?" They brought Maya inside, fed her, made sure she was safe, found out she was staying with an aunt who was struggling, connected her with social services, with the community center's programs. As Maya left with a social worker, clutching a bag of food and a stuffed animal, she turned back. "Thank you." Naomi smiled through tears. "You're welcome, sweetie." Ethan put his arm around Naomi. "The cycle continues." "Forever," Naomi said. They stood in the doorway of the Naomi Williams Community Center, watching the city lights. Behind them, people laughed and danced. In front of them, a neighborhood healed. Around them, a promise kept. 3 years later, the Naomi Williams Community Center had served over 12,000 people. The model spread. 5 more centers opened across Philadelphia, then Baltimore, then Newark. A movement born from one lunch, one promise, one belief that people matter. Ethan and Naomi had a daughter. They named her Hope. On Hope's 3rd birthday, they took her to Lincoln Park Elementary, showed her the fence. "This is where Mommy and Daddy met," Naomi said. Hope touched the fence. "It's pretty." "It's magic," Ethan said, "because this is where everything started." That night they read Hope a bedtime story, not from a book, their story. Once upon a time, a little girl gave everything she had to save a dying boy. She didn't know it would change the world. She just knew it was right. And that choice, one small choice, created a legacy of love that would last forever. Hope fell asleep smiling. Ethan and Naomi stood in the doorway watching her breathe. "Do you think she'll understand?" Naomi whispered. "One day, when she's ready. Do you have any regrets?" Ethan looked at his wife, the woman who saved him, the woman who loved him, the woman who proved that kindness always, always wins. Not one. They closed the door softly, and downstairs on the mantel, 2 silver lockets sat side by side, matching, tarnished, sacred. Inside each one, the same faded Polaroid. A promise made. A promise kept. The apple cost her everything, but it bought a legacy of love that would echo through generations. One small act. One brave choice. One girl who believed that people matter. And in the end, that was all that mattered.